the quicksilver we order for the monastery. Of course, I told him that wouldn't be possible.
And then what? Did they threaten you?
Not at first. They tried to bribe me, and when I refused, they started threatening.
How did you hand it over to them?
I take it up the hill behind the monastery here. There's a big tree there with a small chapel underneath. Sometimes Rapota is there waiting for me. If not, I leave it there.
What did they threaten you with?
They said they know people in the monastery, that they'd have me thrown out and beaten for stealing.
And you had been stealing? I mean, before then?
You know how it is. I work my fingers to the bone and they pay me a pittance.
So they knew about you?
Yes, they knew my name, everything.
Very well. Thank you.
Farewell.
If your cottage burnt down, our sausages will still taste good. If your husband is murdered, our sausages will be here. Come get us.
I hope I can be of some humble service to you.
Is there anything interesting going on here?
It's so peaceful, it worries me.
The Lord be praised. What brings you to me?
You look different, Master.
So as to fit in. I don't want it known that I'm in town.
Why?
I don't want to alarm our prey. Gossip spreads quickly, and if those scoundrels learn we're onto them, they'll flee.
That does make sense.
So what have you found out so far?
I found out where they get their quicksilver from. You were right, it was the monastery.
It was the only logical explanation.
It changed hands on the hill behind the monastery.
Have you been there to have a look around?
Not yet.
Maybe it would be worth the time.
I'll go and see.
And have you found out who's behind it?
Someone called Rapota.
Not much, but it's a start. At least it's not a common name. Listen, Henry, I had another thought on the way here. Those counterfeiters have to have a punch die to make the fake coins.
Yes, of course.
That's sophisticated work. There's a man I know who works at the monastery yard, Master Engraver Jerome of Silesia.
You don't suppose that he's...
No, not that, God forbid. I know him well. He'd never do anything like that. But he runs an engraving workshop, so he might have heard something.
Very well, I'll ask him.
But ask with tact. I don't want him getting offended. And I prefer you not to mention me at all.
I'll try to think of something. That's all.
Take care now.
hell was that? Yeah. Yeah.
So, what did Master Pfeiffer have to say?
I consulted him, and we definitely have a starting point.
Tell me more.
Master Pfeiffer found out they need copper sheets for the core of the coins, and quicksilver for the
I see. They have such materials at the monastery.
Exactly. That's why I'm interested in the local forges.
Yes, that is good. Yesterday, I heard people from the craftsman's yard by the monastery complaining. They said they could not sleep at night because the blacksmith works all the time till dawn.
I see. That's certainly worth asking about. Have you heard anything else?
You said they use quicksilver. There is a painter lodging here who is painting the church in Ujits. I heard him complain also. He said that he went to the monastery for quicksilver and it was all gone.
Well, that's something to follow up as well. Thanks.
Ale for me.
I might know where the materials from the monastery get passed on to the forges.
Where?
Up the hill by Sasa Woods.
Shall we go right now?
No, I need to find out more. I don't even know if anyone will be there now, but you could keep an eye out there, in case anyone appears, I mean.
Agreed.
My pleasure.
I'm honored that you should come to me.
How goes the work, Master?
Getting there, getting there. You need something, my boy?
What are you doing here, anyway?
You're in an engraver's shop, my boy. We're engraving, of course.
Yeah, but engraving what? And what's it used for?
Oh, we engrave wood and stone as well as metal. Here in the monastery, it's mostly about decoration.
You've got quite a large workshop, Master. You don't do all the work alone, surely?
I'm usually here with my apprentice, Florian. Of course, by simple observation, you'll note that this is not currently the case, and I'm here alone, which means that either I'm a liar or something out of the ordinary has occurred.
I see. I think. So what's happened to Florian?
He shares the fate of the pharaohs for today, The 5th scourge of Egypt did smite him, the plague, or so his message advised me.
Jesus Christ, the plague?
Do remain calm. I'm quite certain the plague from which Florian is suffering wasn't a judgment from on high, or if it was a judgment on excessive drinking. I'm told such an ailment can be of truly biblical proportions.
What's he like, your apprentice, Florian?
I'm afraid that his exuberant youth has taken its toll. He's been acting strangely of late. I fear he has delusions of persecution.
I don't really know what you mean, at all.
Recently, for example, he told me that someone was following him. And the very next day he bought a padlock from the blacksmith and locked up his chest, as though I would ever sneak into it. In any case, why the interest? Are you looking for him?
Something like that.
May I ask why?
I have a message for him.
A message? Who would be interested in that wastrel? Other than his furious and deeply disappointed master, of course. About your question, you'll find him at home, no doubt feverishly dying. He sleeps in the baker's cellar.
Ah, thank you. Does Florian have any enemies?
A man such as he certainly owes money at every turn, and the parents of local girls are undoubtedly displeased with his attempts to propagate. However, most recently it was that fury from the baths who accosted him in quite a spectacular rage.
A woman from the baths? What did she do?
The harpy nearly tore all Florian's hair out. I don't frequently feel sorry for my ne'er-do-well apprentice, but on that occasion I made an exception.
Do you have any idea why she did it?
She was screaming about some girl, some flighty bath-maid, Esther. I would say that Florian had felt the joys of spring and acted accordingly, although one would have thought they'd be used to that sort of thing at the bathhouse.
Thank you. I'll leave you to your work.
Yeah.
God be with you.
You look quite sprightly for an invalid.
What? Who the hell are you?
My name's Henry, and I'm making inquiries for Sir Radzig Kobyla.
And what do you want from me?
Straight to the point then. All right. I've been investigating counterfeit money, and the trail led me straight to you. Does the name Rapiter mean anything to you?
I don't know. Maybe?
Don't bother. I know you know him. You make the punch dice for the counterfeiters. How do you hand them over? Do you know where their workshop is?
I can't say anything. I'll deny everything and you've got nothing on me. No evidence, just accusations.
You just incriminated yourself.
One man's word against another. Like I said, I'll deny everything.
And do you really think that's going to help you? Your word means nothing. You've got the tools, the knowledge, and the workshop. The only thing missing is a motive, but I'm guessing it's money.
I don't give a fuck about money.
So what then?
Those bastards kidnapped Esther. If I don't cooperate, they'll kill her.
That doesn't begin to justify what you did.
I don't care. This isn't about me. Listen, I'll tell you everything, I promise. But only if I know that Esther's safe.
What, so I'm to go searching for her in the woods?
I know where they're keeping her, but nobody will help me. And what can puny little me do faced with those strapping great villains?
You're trying to haggle with me? Have you forgotten who I am?
I won't let you push me around.
What, you mean the way you aren't being pushed around by the kidnappers? You'd be more convincing if you weren't shaking in your shoes.
Jesus Christ, will this never end?
Now talk.
They found me in the tavern one evening, caught me when I went to the ship pile, and they started to badger me about working for them.
They?
Yes, Rapiter. And a knight they called Sir Yezhek.
And then what?
They explained what they wanted from me, and I told them to sod off.
I'm guessing that didn't go down too well.
It wasn't all that bad. They just threw me on the dung heap and left. I thought it was just a drunkard's joke. But then they took Esther.
Where will I find Rapiter?
He's usually wherever I am.
What does that mean?
He watches me. Everywhere I go. And when I'm at home, he sits on the bench in the square, watching my house.
So he's there now?
Hard to say. Sometimes I see him in the tavern on the green, buying supplies.
All right. At least I know where to start. And you go to work tomorrow, you hear?
Why?
Because we have to lure him out. And besides, your master will surely be glad to see you.
I have my doubts.
How did you hand over the punch die to them?
Rapiter waited for me behind the church. I didn't want to give it to them without seeing Esther first.
And did they let you?
Yes, although I don't really know why. They took me to a derelict farm in the Skalitz Hills. My poor Esther, they'd scared her half to death.
So at least you know she's alive.
Who knows? It was a while ago. And they never let her go, even after I did what they wanted. They said they'd be needing more.
More punch dice?
They wear out over time. And they have to be replaced regularly.
Why didn't you tell anyone?
At first, I took it for a bad joke. And then, when they snatched Esther, there was nothing to be done.
I suppose I'd better go. I'd hate the bastard to get away.
Go. I hope you get revenge. May the Lord watch over you.
There's no greater pleasure than a tub of hot water.
Take care.
Let's talk about the price.
All right, so.
Since it's you,
That's not enough.
Have a guess what I'd like to do with you.
Why don't you just surprise me?
I doubt there's much would surprise a wench as experienced as you.
Aye, that would do it.
Well, you wouldn't want to go home to your wife looking like a stuffed owl now, would you?
I'd like to order something here.
And what is it you'd like?
Have a guess what I'd like to do with you.
Why don't you just surprise me?
I doubt there's much would surprise a wench as experienced as you. I've been looking forward to this all week. By God, I'd be here every day if I had the coin.
If you were here every day fucking, you'd have neither work nor coin.
True. The more I work, the more coin I have, but the less time for wenches.
Oh, no deal.
Jesus, you stink like a tanner's dog.
I'd like that.
That's why I'm here.
Thank you.
Left it a bit late, didn't you?
As you wish. Do you have the coin?
I'm not giving you that much.
And how much are you willing to pay?
Satisfied?
It'll take more than that to persuade me. You won't regret spending the money. I guarantee it. Take care.
I'd like to make use of the...
So what are you interested in?
Anyone asks, I wasn't here. My wife would throw a fit if she knew I was here with you young wenches.
She ought to pay us a visit. It'd calm her down.
I could have dragged the old witch here with a team of 10 horses.
Ah, well, maybe she'll get a bath in the ducking stool. Hey.
No deal.
Any new in town?
Not at all. I've been here several times. Well, I suppose I should be flattered it wasn't my face you were.
Oh, no deal.
You look as if you've never seen a woman in your life. Is this your first time here?
Quiet, and let's do it quick. If anyone sees me here...
Oh, no deal.
Oh, lovely. Nothing better than a hot tub and a pretty face.
Oh, the best is yet to come, sir.
Well, I'm glad to hear it.
Oh, no deal.
I'd like that. Thank you.
As you wish. Do you have the coin?
If anyone asks, I wasn't here.
I'm not giving you that much.
And how much are you willing to pay?
She ought to pay us a visit. It'd calm her down.
Come more often.
I could have dragged the old witch here with a team of 10 horses.
Since it's you.
Maybe she'll get us
You
back
won't
to the
convince me with that. You won't regret spending the money. I guarantee it. Good luck, then.
I'm interested in you.
Uh-huh.
Hot water and a good scrubbing. Isn't that what the baths are for?
That can be arranged.
I'm not giving you that much.
And how much are you willing to pay?
What about this?
That's not enough. You won't regret spending the money. I guarantee it. Goodbye.
Oh, 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 oh. What have we here?
Hurry up now. Get me cleaned up. I can't wait around all day.
Certainly. But if you're in such a hurry, it'd be... That sounded like... Hey, what you doing here? Clear off quick or I'll have you thrown out.
What are you staring at? The baths are for paying guests. Not idle.
is it? Come now.
I hear you're at odds with apprentice Florian.
At odds? I'll give you at odds. It's that sod's fault they took my Esther.
What exactly happened?
This man came in wanting a bath, and Esther with it. She doesn't normally offer that kind of service, but I didn't see the harm, so I sent her in to him. And suddenly I hear screams. So I run out, and I see the bastard pulling her out of the tent and shoving her into a boat.
I'm sorry they took her, but what exactly has it got to do with Florian?
They shouted at me to tell Florian that when he wises up, he'll get the girl back.
I assume that Florian knows this, Esther.
You know village girls. They don't get much of a choice. Every other knave has a turnip for a brain, and if they don't, they're relatives. And then some young dandy turns up who writes her little poems. What's the poor girl to do? And this is how it ends. She should have stuck with the turnip heads.
Where can I find this Florian? I'd like to ask him a few questions.
He works in the engraver's workshop at the monastery craftsman's yard. And if he's not there, he'll be holed up like the rat he is in the cellar he rents from the baker. He's afraid of me, for sure.
What did the bailiff make of it?
Don't even get me started on that. He's another fine... I won't say what. I told him everything, but he says he won't do nothing about it.
How's that then?
He wouldn't tell me to my face, of course. But people here don't think much of us. There's some as reckon my Esther deserves what she got. Poor girl.
It sounds like you were close to Esther.
I loved her like my very own. She came to me as an orphan, like a wolf child she was. I raised her and taught her and gave her a job, and now she's gone. Who knows if she's even alive? God bless.
Hosts baked in the temple of Jerusalem.
I'm fed up to the back teeth with you. Or what? All this constant fear.
I know you. I know you from somewhere. Where do I know you from?
What?
Of course, my dream. You were in a boat made of bone, and I put a crown of thorns on your head.
All right. Tell me about this dream of yours.
That dream. Yes, that dream has come true. I dreamt that a young man would become my apprentice, my own pupil in the trade of miracles.
And that's supposed to be me?
Oh, well.
From the yard or from the
What's your name, young man?
Henry.
Henry. A powerful name. So, Henry, are you ready to become my apprentice?
What exactly does it entail, becoming your apprentice?
Oh, a lot of work and strenuous labor. Knowledge of medicine, theology, and white magic. You have to study the great works of the ancients and devote your time to understanding your fellow men, listening to them, and learn to read their souls.
That's a pretty challenging task.
That's why God has sent you. So what do you say?
All right, I'll be your apprentice.
Wonderful! Oh, glorious day! I have a successor in my work.
So, how do you plan to start training me?
With a test of your practical skills.
Oh.
I have my eye on 3 rare objects of great value. But sadly, they're a little difficult to obtain.
Just so we're clear, I'm not stealing anything for you.
Who said anything about stealing?
You said these are valuable things you're after. I don't suppose you can just pick them up anywhere.
Valuable for me because I know their power and strength. For an ordinary mortal, they barely mean anything.
Oh. Well, that's fine then.
First, I need a tooth of Saint Procopius. Then I'll need a branch from a topping out hung on a church. And finally, a talisman for luck from a passionate player.
Bloody hell, that's a lot. All right, one thing at a time. This player's talisman, where am I supposed to find it?
I actually have a specific one in mind. Here at the inn, there's a dice player who always has a cat's paw with him. That's a...
A cat's paw?
I thought so too. But this man is winning one game after another, so...
Good men, good wives, come have a look. Don't be shy. You'll
How
never
am I
see
supposed
such
to get the
fine
talisman
men.
from him?
I haven't a clue. It won't be easy, but I'm sure you'll find a way.
Very well. About that tooth.
Meat,
It's going to
cured
be
and fresh,
slightly more
from the
complicated,
woods or
isn't it?
from the pen.
I
It
know.
all tastes
Yes,
delicious.
it would be very difficult to gain such a rare relic, of course. That's why I have an alternative solution.
I'm listening.
A layman named Procopius lives by the monastery, and it just so happens, thanks to my intricate medical knowledge, that I found out he has a sick tooth.
Lean, fatty, marbled, meats of all kinds.
And how am I supposed to get the tooth?
I haven't the faintest idea. You'll have to think of something. But maybe you'll be able to persuade him to let the blacksmith pull it.
Fine. I'll...
Come right up.
Wonderful.
It's a feast for your eyes and your stomachs. It's hard to resist. You'll not find better meat
This
anywhere.
topping out? What's that? No, I'm a blacksmith.
I see. Well, a topping out is a decorated spruce or a conifer tree hung on top of the roof of a new house to bring good fortune and God's blessing.
That topping off is hung pretty high, isn't it?
Naturally. It hangs on the rooftop according to tradition. And the church is tall.
And how am I supposed to get it down?
Damned if I know. But they had to get it up there somehow, didn't they?
Well, then all we need to do is break off a branch somewhere, buy a few ribbons, and we've got our own homemade topping out right there.
You don't understand, young man. The topping out was sanctified by a priest, and it hangs on the highest church far and wide. You can't just replace it with a decorated branch.
Fair enough. Very well, I'll get it. I'll get looking for those things then.
Excellent! You do that.
Can we do something about the price?
All right, so...
What about this?
You're a right pinch purse.
I'll go for that.
Hosts baked in the Temple of Jerusalem. Salt.
from the yard or from the woods, clean and cutting pork, chicken and fish.
Coming right up. You're right here.
Tankard of ale for me.
Only got 2 hands.